Let's see. It's recording. All right, guys. So let's go take a look at my Airbnb. So I'll show you guys this in a minute. So over here, we have this entry point where you lock in, lock in, lock. Then we're gonna go down the stairs. Okay, and be able to see everything. Kind of dark down here. I think we just had somebody leave. Oh, I need to change that light bulb. Anyways, so this is one of the rooms right here. And then we're gonna go over here, and then I'll turn the camera. I'll turn this off really quick, so then I'll be able to control it. So this is the Airbnb. Let's go down. This is one of the rooms. Somebody just checked out. It seems like they have a view of the outside if they want. Here's the view out here. Yeah, Airbnb. So this is what it looks like when somebody comes in. They have to go through the outside, obviously. So this is what it looks like when you come in. We're gonna go here. So Airbnb, it automatically locks because it's got a lock right there. They have this room, the tour, the Airbnb tour. Okay. A lot of our furniture we got from IKEA, almost all of it, just to save on cost, you know. And then this is the master bedroom. Now this has been the third rental that we put together. It's really cool. We have this couch. We got like a little putt area. But yeah, this is pretty much the whole thing. You have the whole Airbnb, and then this is the bathroom. I'll turn the light on. You have a bathroom right here, the mirror. Go right here. It's gonna look for me, I think. Anyways, bathroom. That's what we got. Really cool. Big screen TV. Anyways, now we're gonna turn this thing around. Now we're gonna go like this. It's gonna match your lens. Now we're gonna go over here. I'm gonna start talking. Over here. Yep. I don't know if it's gonna be good or not. Guys, so that's our Airbnb. This is our Airbnb. We've had it now for 5 years. It's been honestly a really good godsend when it comes to being able to help us pay off. When it comes to being able to help us pay some of the mortgage payment, prices right now are pretty crazy. And so we really honed in and looked at what properties be the best to be able to help us mitigate some of that cost. Some of the tweaks that we've done, we'll get into some of those tweaks as far as like being able to increase the value. I would say that there's like 5 big things that made the biggest impact to our overall rating, as well as, so there's 5 things that made an impact to our rating. And then there's like another 5 things that made a really big impact to just the overall value that we can create here. Because it's a basement, pretty loud. And so we had to go and put that in. And so we had to go in and make sure people knew that. We set the right expectations. We try to make sure people knew what they were getting themselves into. And we wanted to make sure that when people book, that all those expectations were just right there for them to be able to see. Now, to get to those 5 things that made probably the biggest impact, I'm going to go over the 5 amenities that made the biggest impact overall. The first one, believe it or not, was the hot tub. The first one, believe it or not, was having a bath. Like, people like taking baths when they go out and relaxing. Even when it comes to a basement, they want a bath. And so that'd be the first one. The second one that made a really big impact for our long-term stayers was a washer and dryer. So we added a washer and dryer so that people can come in and feel like, hey, I could stay here a long time. And I could feel comfortable coming in and out, making sure I don't have to unload and load the stuff. So the washer was a big one. The third one was bunk beds. So having multiple places for people to sit in, for multiple people for them to be able to lay down and sleep. Just because the amount of people that want to book, usually they book in groups. And so the more sleeping arrangements you have, the better. So what are we on? The third. So we went tub, we went washer and dryer, we went sleeping arrangement. And the last 2 were kind of surprising. So the last 2 were snacks, having snacks and drinks. That actually really was very surprising for me. And then for the last one, I would say just having a keyless entry. So I added a keyless entry so people could come in and out. So that created a really big impact for this unit. And as far as amenities go, now as far as ratings go, I would say that the 5 biggest impacts for ratings were one, being able to, or the number one, I'll do the number one last. How about that? So I'll go from 5 to 1. Okay. So the 5th most impactful rating, or the fifth most impactful thing for ratings, was just blankets, like having blankets in the unit, because it does get cold here in Utah. And so you want to have blankets. Then the 4th out of the 5th was televisions and like Netflix, and having places for people to go and watch TV, because when people go on vacation, they want to be able to relax and watch television. And so Netflix was a big one, and just having that available for them. Now, the third was just making sure we had instructions to in and out of the house, like very clear instructions of what to do to check in, what to do to check out. That made a good experience overall. The second one, what was the second one? Oh, the second one was communication, being open to communication, being available. So like when somebody sends you a message, you being available and being able to just respond quickly, that really made a big difference. And then the last thing that made a big impact to our overall rating was cleanliness. We make sure that our Airbnb is spotless. Cleanliness really matters. Like, we make sure we have white sheets. We make sure that the carpet has lines in it when we vacuum. We make sure that everything smells good, and we make sure that everything is as clean and as just clean. We just make sure everything's clean. We just make sure everything is as clean as possible. And so that's a big deal. For it being a basement, it's like obviously kind of hard to rent out, but overall we have maybe 65% to 70% booking. And then the last thing that I want to make sure that you guys know, I should have said this at the beginning, but the last thing, if you guys stuck around, is make sure that you change the pricing every day. Every day you want to change the pricing. So we use a software called Price Labs. And then we also have Guesty, because we put things on VRBO, Airbnb, Booking.com, Google, Expedia. Everything is put into one place. So we pay for a subscription for Guesty, and we pay for a subscription for, what was it called? Price Labs. We pay for Price Labs as well. And those two together help us just make pricing adjustments. And when you create pricing adjustments quickly, you're more attractive to people who are traveling. So those are a few things that I'd recommend you guys go look at if you're doing an Airbnb. Now, if you're doing like a 1-bedroom Airbnb, let me show you what I would do if I would do a 1-bedroom downstairs. Okay. So here, if you have a downstairs, right? One thing I would do is I would probably in the future, would just close this off right here. So I would put a wall. Let me show you if I can show you right. I would put a wall from this wall to that wall right there, and I'd create like a space right there. And that way, when somebody came in, it could be considered a 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom. And I would keep, so that individual could have a kitchen and would have, essentially they would have this area. Let me get rid of that. Okay, so what I would do is I would make sure that they always have a living room, they always have a sleeping area, and then they always have a bathroom. And so what I would do is I would probably just create a wall right there. And that way I have that closet right there. So if I could keep that closet, and then that right there, I would keep that bedroom to expand my space. That would be considered a 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom. Okay. Now, another thing I could do if we wanted to is close it off right here. So if I were to zoom out, you could close off this space from that wall to that wall. And I would have a second washer and dryer down here, or I could move that washer and dryer into a utility closet, because I could just change the piping and put the washer and dryer out here so that they could have a washer and dryer in this space. But it would be a little cramped, but it would work. You would just kind of adjust the washer and dryer, or not have a washer and dryer altogether and make it more like a hotel where they could just come in and you could essentially just have this space be their Airbnb. Kitchen, living area, and sleeping area. And so they could wash their hands there, blah, 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 but there wouldn't be a bathroom. Believe it or not, there's a lot of Airbnbs without bathrooms. And so that's just something I would consider doing. Unless you wanted to renovate and make that utility area, move some utility electrical stuff around and make a bathroom over there. But another thing we considered was putting, like, this is a big old closet. Check this out. So if I go through here, this is massive. It's a massive closet. So what you could do there is you're right next to the utility. So you could put a washer or dryer here and route it to the utility closet, because that's what we've done over here, right? So you could route that there. There's just so many creative solutions, guys, to being able to Airbnb a space and using just minimal space that are just out of your way, okay? And if you guys want to see more of what I would do in my personal upstairs bedroom, or sorry, my upstairs, for those who don't have basements, for those of people who don't have basements, here, 1 second. Okay, let me make sure you guys see me. Okay. Okay. All right. And for those of you guys who don't have basements, I would highly recommend you go look at this video, because I'll break down what I would do upstairs to be able to rent out a small space and be able to essentially get creative with just one bedroom. Okay. So go look at this video over here. Okay, bye.